bright, shiny new year of auxiliary. And I'm happy to see all your bright, shining faces. And I'm dating myself. There's a few people on this call who may actually know what that's in reference to. For the rest of you, thank you all for being here. Just so you all know, a lot of new faces at the district and a lot of new faces in business support services. So before we get into the formality, I'm gonna jump on real quick and give a shout out to Roberta Maroney, who has replaced Kay Copy in the department. We loved Kay. Kay is now enjoying retirement. We love Roberta. She has done an incredible job. So Roberta, to the team. I will get to all the introductions of all the board members shortly because I want to give you all a moment to introduce yourselves. But in the meantime too, I want to give big shout outs to Alyssa, who is our student at large, and Luis, who dropped off the call, but I think he's back now because he's on his laptop, are two students at large. So I want to welcome both of you to the auxiliary board. Want to say anything?
I'm ready. Thank you for having me on the board. It's a pleasure. I wasn't expecting the decision to be made this quick, but I'm happy to be part of this board and happy to serve in any capacity I can.
Thank you, Luis. Alyssa?
Ditto what Luis said. I'm really excited and thank you for the opportunity. Look forward to working with you guys.
Well, thank you both. We're probably a lot more excited to have you. You know what? While we're waiting for Dr. Corral, it looks like he's going to be along in a few minutes. Why don't we go ahead and just do introductions? I'm gonna go ahead and start, and I'm gonna go around the order I see everybody on the screen. So Marlene, would you please kick it off for us?
I sure will. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marlene Drinkwine, Vice President of Business Services. It's nice to see all the faces we've seen at the last meetings. I was going to say it's nice to see all the old faces, but I didn't want it to come out wrong. It's nice to see all the new faces as well.
Thanks, Marlene. Dave?
I'm Dave McDonald with S&B Foods, operate the Viking Food Court and the PCC cafeteria.
Thanks, Dave. John? Hey, John, you're on mute.
Thanks, Bob. I haven't done that in a while, but got to do it. That's, Marlene said, that's the saying of the past year and a half. Sorry, but John Thompson, Director of Fiscal Services. Hello to everybody.
Thanks, John. Mary?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Fajar, and I am the General Manager of the Long Beach City College bookstores out of the LAC campus.
Thank you, Mary. Ruth?
Hello, I'm Ruth Ramirez. I am the Assistant Store Manager for our PCC locations of the bookstore.
Thank you, Ruth. Shauna?
Good afternoon. My name is Shauna, and I'm a full-time faculty person working as a counselor in disabled students programs and services. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Shauna. Elise?
Everyone, my name is Elise Nugget, and I'm an accountant in fiscal services.
Thanks, Elise. Dario, I know you hear more because you're the one that helps these Zooms happen, but I think you deserve to introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Dario de Santiago is my name. I'm with IT, tech support, and I'm live streaming the meeting and help coordinate the meeting as well.
As always, Dario, thanks so much for helping making this possible during the age of Zoom and COVID. Roberta?
Hi, everybody. Administrative assistant for Bob Raposa and business support services, taking over for Kate Copy's gigantic shoes to fill. So I apologize in advance for any fumblings that I do while I get used to taking notes at these new meetings and so on and so on. There's a lot to learn in sitting in this position. So, and I'm loving it though. So Hello.
Roberta, thanks, and we welcome you to the meeting. For those of you who might not recognize me, I'm Bob Raposa. I'm the Director of Business Support Services. I serve as the secretary to the board and kind of help coordinate things for the auxiliary board. And I'm very pleased and honored to have that position. I hope you all excuse me. I'm dressed a little bit casually than I normally would be, but I am the administrator on duty tonight at LAC. So I've got on my walking shoes and a jacket because I anticipate it's going to get a little chilly tonight out here. So I expect Dr. Corral any moment. Why don't we go ahead and move forward with the agenda? And I'm sure that he will be right along. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to put the agenda on there. And if y'all can let me know, thumbs up or whatever, that you can see the screen, that would be great. All right, thanks. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and roll. So as you can see, item number 1 on the agenda is welcome and introductions. And we've done that, and it's successfully navigated part 1 of the meeting. We've talked about our guests, and they'll be speaking at a later portion of this meeting as well. We've introduced our students at large. You can see we're a very efficient group. We're already all the way to item number 3, which is board elections. So it is a new and happy fiscal year. And so that means that we have board elections today. So this will be an action item. And what this means is we have several positions that need to be filled on the board, and I'm going to walk through them very quickly. We have a chairperson, a vice chairperson, a treasurer, a secretary, and those positions are filled by board members, and that means it could be anyone on this agenda. The duties are pretty simple. A lot of it falls down to steps that would be taken if we had something like a board member in the year, then we would have a chairperson run the portion of the meeting where we would replace that individual. In terms of a treasurer, that duty is really just kind of watching over the financials that are presented by our wonderful fiscal staff. The vice chairperson steps in for the chairperson if needed. Secretary, we actually have our wonderful Roberta Maroney, who takes the meeting minutes for the minutes. Dr. Corral, thank you so very much for joining us and allowing us to have quorum. We greatly appreciate it. I was just walking everyone through our slate of positions here on the district because we're going to have elections in a moment. And then we have, of course, our students at large, and we are missing our ASB board person, or we usually have that person on board, so I will follow up with student services on that. But so seeing how we are off to the races here, I'd like to see if anyone would like to make any nominations, including for yourself, if you so want to fill the position. So we'll start with chairperson. Is there anyone who would like to be chairperson of the board? Anyone open for nominations? If not, as secretary of the board, I'll start making nominations. Okay, we have a shy group. I am going to therefore nominate my wonderful boss, Marlene Drinkwine. I'm going to put her forth as nominated for chairperson, and she has shared this role in the past, and I know she does a wonderful job. So I'm going to put this Drinkwine as VP Drinkwine as on the slate for that. Does anyone else care to throw their hat in the ring or nominate anyone else for chairperson? Okay, seeing none. Vice chairperson, does anyone have a nomination for that? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. So I apologize for being late. I was double booked, and hopefully there's not a lot of double bookings moving forward. But I'm wondering, for the board nominations or position nominations, are they only within the auxiliary board members that are nominated for these positions, or are resources also a consideration for that? Just
wonderful question. No, resources are not considered. It would strictly be the board members, Dr. Corral.
Do these have to be chosen today, Bob?
Yes, we choose them today because they will be holding the positions for the remainder of the fiscal year. Good question as well. Good questions from the team.
And normally, is the vice chairperson the ASB board student representative?
No, these are actually open to everyone. Traditionally, we have had people in positions, but
okay.
Bylaws actually don't speak to that. It should be an open nomination process. But great question again.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Okay. So do we have anyone nominations for vice chairperson, including if you want to nominate yourself? Okay. Seeing none, I am going to nominate Dr. Corral as our vice chairperson. Does anyone else care to throw their hat in the ring? Okay. All right. Seeing none. Secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
Would that be me, Bob?
Actually, no. You're one of our resources. That's a good
thank
question.
you.
No,
Oh, thank you. Got it.
to
Okay.
board members only.
Gotcha. Thank you.
This is an even tougher group than the Management Association when I had to get nominations. That's saying a lot.
Bob, is secretary the position you currently hold?
It's odd. I'm secretary of the corporation, but I'm not secretary of.
Thank you. So you don't currently you don't hold a board position because you are secretary of the corporation.
You got it. Exactly right.
Thank you.
I nominate Shauna.
Okay, we have a nomination. Does anyone else care to make a nomination? Okay, seeing none. Treasurer. Would one of our students at large who are board members care to throw their hat in the ring?
Absolutely. I would like to nominate myself for the treasurer.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We will then close the nomination committee and put forward. Sorry, got a call. Boy, getting hit with all these calls. Put forward the slate, proposed slate for 2021 to 2022. Chairperson, Vice President Drinkwine, Vice Chairperson, Vice President Corral, Secretary, Shauna Hageman, and for Treasurer, Alyssa Avila. So, Roberta, can you please do a roll call vote of everyone as you see them on their screen?
Yes. Alyssa, do I do one position at a time or?
You know, my apologies. I'm violating Robert's Rules of Orders. Can I have someone make a motion to accept this slate of nominations?
I move to accept the slate of nominations as you've stated it, Bob.
Thank you very much, Vice President Drinkwine. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Corral. Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will now take a roll call vote. Can you please take a roll call vote as you see the members on the board members on the screen? So that would be Marlene, Dr. Corral, Shauna, Luis, and Alyssa. Those are our voting members.
Those are our voting what? I'm sorry, Bob, because your screen is different than what I'm seeing on my screen. So sorry.
Okay. We would take a vote. You know, I'll go ahead and do it. But that's absolutely fine because it's a little confusing. And you've been wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So Vice President Drinkwine, yay or nay on the slate?
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Corral.
Aye.
Thank you. Shauna Hageman.
Aye.
Thank you. Luis Gonzalez.
Aye.
Thank you. And Alyssa Avila.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, the board has successfully been elected for this fiscal year, unanimously, I might say. We're off to a very conspicuous start. This is wonderful. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to item number 4 of the agenda, public comments. Roberta, do we have any public comments?
Nope.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next item of the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any discussion?
Only a correction, Bob. If we scroll up on the agenda, just Shauna's last name doesn't have an R, and Shauna, correct me if I'm wrong though. I don't think it has an R.
No, that's correct. There's no R. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we have a motion for the approval of the agenda with a correction to Shauna Hageman's last name.
Motion to approve.
Thank you very much, Luis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Did you pick up who? I apologize. Who's
Sorry, this is Noel, and it's a second.
Thank you so much. Okay. Any discussion on the board? Okay. Seeing none. Roll call vote. Vice President Drinkwine.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Corral.
Aye.
Thank you. Shauna Hageman.
Aye.
Thank you. Luis Gonzalez.
Aye.
Thank you. And Alyssa Avila.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So that passed. Wonderful with that correction. Okay, the next item is the approval of the May 25th, 2021 minutes. I am going to open those up and put those on the screen. If you please give me one moment. Okay. Can everyone see the minutes? Yeah. Okay, great. I will, you have a copy also attached to the meeting request today, but I will scroll through this slowly to give everyone a chance to read it just in case you're not able to download the other one. Okay, do we need any more time? Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 25, 2021?
So moved. This is Marlene.
We have a second?
Seconded, Noel.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion, questions from the board?
Bob, it's me, Luis. I have a question.
Yes.
Since I wasn't part of the meeting last time, am I able to vote on the minutes or no?
You're still a board member, so yes, that's a great question. I know it seems counterintuitive, but yes, you would still.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, great question. Thank you for asking. Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Vice President Drinkline.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice President Corral.
Aye.
Thank you. Shauna Hagman.
Aye.
Thank you. Luis Gonzalez.
Aye.
Thank you. And Alyssa.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. Okay, the approval of the May 25th meeting has passed unanimously. Okay, moving on to item number 7 of the agenda. We have our campus stores update from Mary Fajar and or Ruth Ramirez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Thank you so much. So here's a brief recap. We were lucky enough to open the LAC campus bookstore on August 16th. That was our official reopen date. We suspended curbside pickup at that time because we were reopened. Just as a brief recap from the 16th until now, not necessarily just rush, but we'll just go from the reopening until as of close of business yesterday. So the LAC campus bookstore, since August 16th, we have transacted 6,764 textbooks. This is a very, very high number. It was higher than we were anticipating. Just because we weren't sure of just how many students would be getting physical textbooks this fall, I predicted we would do a little bit less than that, and the majority of our textbooks would be digital. However, we had the stock just in case, and I'm pleased to note that, yes, 6,764 textbooks are in student hands. There is a nationwide paper shortage and print shortage. This has been in the news recently. Many campuses were affected by this print shortage, meaning that some of the textbooks, they didn't get printed. We were fortunate on this campus to only experience a back order status for 3 titles. And they were, the 3 specific titles were World of Fiction for ESL 33. And we currently only have 4 on back order. A few copies of the Calculus for Math 60, and then American Politics, the Graphic History for Poly 1H, Poly Sci. Those are the 3 significant back orders that we experienced because of the print shortage that's happening nationwide. But all in all, the majority of our students did get all the books that they needed. So we were very, very fortunate at LBCC. Not every campus was as lucky as we were nationwide. As far as staffing goes, LAC campus, we hired 15. That brought us to 15 temporary booksellers in total. And we did hire, of those, 7 of which were students on campus. So that is fortunate. We had some students who applied and we did bring them on. So we love student workers. The COVID mandates that we did and put in place with regards to the reopening with the reopening task force, we were in full compliance. At no time did we deviate from that plan, so I'm pleased to say that we are still in compliance, and there have been no issues with regarding the scheduled sanitation or line situations or anything like that that we put processes in place to manage. And see, first day. So the students that are on the call, and we also have a few staff members who may not know what this is, we run a program here on campus called First Day, and it's an instant access program for our students to receive their material instantly when they register for the course. Semester over semester, this has been a growing program as more departments have found that it does truly assist our students with their outcomes and being successful in their educational careers. And what we did last year, we had 78 sections across both campuses that were part of the First Day program. This fall, we had 128, so we did grow significantly. Students are enjoying it. We haven't had any real issues with it. And we did have 7 late additions. So we grew after the anticipated 128 sections for another 7, which brought us up to 135 sections total on this program. And how First Day works is once a student registers in the class, they pay the small fee, which is on a national average significantly less for their course materials digitally delivered to them, and they have access to the material instantly. It is a very successful program, and it's proving it. It does continue to grow semester over semester. Let's see. Also, with regards to transactions at the bookstore, we had the vaccine voucher. We also have Summer Voyage, Destino, and the Welcome Days financial support for the students who participate in those programs. 502 transactions were paid for by the voucher program. And this is huge. I bring this number up because it was 14% of our total transactions were students using their book vouchers. So whether it was the vaccine voucher, whether it was Summer Voyage, Destino, or Welcome Days, 502 transactions were paid for in that fashion. Now, last year at this same time, it was only about 178. So this program, the campus has the students, all the students that participate in these programs, they definitely have taken advantage of it this year. We also, the campus, because of our reopening, we did participate in 4 campus tours. So we had the Summer Voyage students and the Welcome Days. They came. We saw about, I think it was about 350 students over 4 tours who stopped by the bookstore. They received a welcome gift from us. They received coupons and information on how to order books, ways in which they can use their book vouchers. We gave them all an LBCC folder, a 2-pocket folder, and it was a great event. All of them. They were just wonderful. We were concerned. I wanted to give you a lot of hard data this time because we haven't been reopened for more than 17 months. So this is mostly a data-driven report. To figure out just how many students still continue to order their books through the website, 84% of all of our orders were through the bookstore's website. 16% were transacted within the bookstore. So 16 out of 100 students, just for argument's sake, came inside and chose to come to the bookstore in person to buy their books or get the supplies that they needed. The average wait time in store was 3 minutes. The average wait time outside, when we did experience a line, was 4 minutes. The peak time outside wait time was only 9 minutes. That is wonderful. We did not experience lines. This was great when it came to social distancing. We did not have any issues in this regard. It was perfect. It was a perfect rush. An update on the Viking Express at the LAC campus. It still continues to remain closed at this time. The tentative reopening is for spring. So possibly the last 2 weeks of January is when we hope to reopen the Viking Express at the LAC campus. But that is all down to campus factors and how many remote students, how many classes. We still have to discuss that with Bob and the rest of the campus, but that is the tentative reopening point for us to bring back the Viking Express at LAC. The HVAC unit in that location did experience a water leak, so the campus is in the midst we're having that replaced. And we don't have a work completion date yet, but they had to replace the entire unit in the ceiling because of a water leak. So they're working on that. The PCC update, we are currently working with the reopening task force and Bob to see about reopening the PCC bookstore. We were hoping that it would be, because we did have such significant interest and there were more students anticipated at the PCC campus. I've been talking with Ruth and also my regional manager, Denise, and Bob about possibly reopening PCC on a limited basis, potentially 3 days a week. It's still not final yet, but we're working on a date for that reopening. And we're hoping sooner rather than later because there is some interest to enter the bookstore. We are also down there, Ruth is down there every Thursday to meet UPS, and then she's also been arranging to have architecture kits picked up and other needed, the kits that are required for the courses down on that campus. If we do reopen PCC, we will not be returning textbooks until winter term. So they will still continue to be fulfilled out of the LAC campus as they are now. That is just transporting, hundreds and hundreds of books between now and winter for courses that have already begun. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So we'll continue to do the textbooks at LAC for the time being. But as soon as winter begins, we anticipate reopening with full textbook service at PCC. Viking Express down at that campus continues to remain closed at this time. Still working on whether or not we will be reopening that for spring. Not too sure, but that is in the works. It is definitely under discussion. Let's see. The number of web orders that students picked up the first week of class here at LAC campus, on the 30th of August, 121 web orders were picked up. This is just strictly data. It just really shows that the students are still wanting to use the website to place their orders. They're not 100%. We did anticipate some hesitancy of everybody wanting to enter the bookstore. But our web orders for the week alone averaged about 120 pickups per day. Now that's anywhere from 1 book to 10 books. Each order is individually, about 120 per day. Overall, Long Beach City College bookstores are in a very, very good place. We were incredibly successful this rush. It was huge. We experienced very, very few hiccups. We did not experience a lot out of stock. Just those 3 titles that I mentioned. All in all, as we compare ourselves to bookstores nationwide, we have fared very, very, very well this fall. We have done well. We did not experience some of the operational and organizational issues that some of our other peers out there experienced. So we were very, very fortunate. The campus should be very, very pleased with the performance of the staff here at the campus. We did not experience very many shipping delays, which that also impacted many of our other schools out there. And as well as staffing. There have been staffing shortages in the news, and many other stores did experience staffing shortages. We were very fortunate that we were able to staff as needed and provide all that the campus required. And I think that about does it for us. Do we have any questions, anything, concerns that I can, or Ruth can answer?
Okay, thank you, Mary, so much for that information. We greatly appreciate it, and we appreciate Barnes & Noble's partnership.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda is food service update from David McDonald.
Can everybody hear me? Because my gizmo was cutting in and out just a second ago. Good to see everybody. We're here, we're open. I want to thank Bob for holding my hand and helping me get through the process in order to get the food service reopened for the fall semester. It was quite a process, but I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad we're here. We opened on the first day of school, and we were anticipating 40% of the students, and we didn't get anywhere near that. But that's what we were prepared for. It's really on campus, I would say closer to 15%. But we're making do. I had to cut back on staff. I brought back too many people. And in normal times, I don't think we'd be able to survive, but we are getting an employee retention tax credit from the government. So it's a great incentive for us to keep maybe a couple more people on staff than we need for the business we have. And that's pretty much where we're at. We're Monday through Thursday. We're here from 7 to 2. At LAC, we're seeing between 150 and maybe 220 customers a day. At PCC, it's between 45 and 65 customers a day. Combined, it's between $915 a day. And we haven't had very many catering orders. We've had just a few. And that's the whole picture, We'll have to wait and see what happens with the winter and the spring, because the tax credits go away at the end of the year. And but hopefully the spring will be closer to where we were in 2019.
Dave, thank you very much. And we're excited and thankful. And I was, my daughter and I were customers of yours last week at PCC at the grill. So we're trying to utilize it as well, but we're really happy to have you back.
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Moving on to item number 8 in the agenda, financial reports for the year ending June 30th, 2021.
Hi, can everyone hear me? I'm going to share my screen so we can look at a couple of reports. So let me see. Can you all see this? Yeah, okay. So this is going to be the financial reporting for last fiscal year, so fiscal year 2021. So for fiscal year 2021, the auxiliary budgeted $736,561. And for the year, the expenses were $631,813.57, which left us a remaining balance of $104,000. The biggest expense for the auxiliary is going to be the annual PERS contribution that we pay for, and then the rent that the auxiliary pays annually too, which is $122,874. So this is the available balance report. On the revenue and expenses report, it breaks down just what we saw on the available balance report. So the 631 here is on this revenue and expense report. So it breaks down how much we paid for each type of account or object code. So we did pay the 631,813. So for fiscal year 2021, the auxiliary actually operated at a net loss because our revenue significantly decreased because of COVID. So for 2021, we received $368,538. I also have a spreadsheet, let me see, that kind of breaks down the revenue that we received in prior years to kind of see how much we decreased.
Elise, my apologies for interrupting. Would you mind scrolling all the way down? I just didn't catch the operational loss.
Sorry, there you go.
Thank you.
63.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So for 2021, this was the revenue that we received, 358. In 2020, we received 743. And then in 2019, before COVID, we received 919. So you can kind of see in 2020, we got hit, or we were impacted, but not as much as we were in 2021.
Excuse me, Elise, I'm not seeing the spreadsheet. I still see the revenue and expense statement.
Hold on. Let me retry doing this. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, okay, sorry. So this is the breakdown of what we received in 2021 versus 2020 and then 2019. So in 2019, we received 919,000. And then 2020, we received 743. And then in 2021, we had a full year of not being on campus. So that greatly impacted the auxiliary. We received 358,000. A lot of it was that the decrease was with the commissions that we received for the vending machines. So I think that was a big impact with the monthly commissions we get for the auxiliary. So that's 2020. Do you have any questions about 2020? 2021, sorry. Does anyone have questions? No? Okay. So let me share just the 2 months for 2022, which is July and August. Okay, can you see this? So this is 2022. This is for July and August. So the auxiliary budgeted 738,000 for this year. We've really had no activity. The only expenses we've had were for equipment repairs, and I think it was maintenance done to the cafeteria's kitchens. So that was 5,750. And then the profit to date, or the revenue to date that we've received is 11,000, a majority of it coming from Barnes & Noble. And then we scroll down, that 5,750 that we spent on the equipment repair is factored in. So those are our reports for August, up to August 31st, 2021. Does anyone have any questions? Did you want to add anything, Bob, maybe that I missed that might be important or helpful?
No, thank you so much for that. Kind of speaking to what you brought up though, Elise, we expect revenues to increase quite a bit. I think we budgeted about 70% of what we had in 2020. And with Barnes & Noble resuming operations on campus and SMB coming back on the campus, which was totally absent last year, and also having vending services back online, we're hoping to see a significant increase. Our goal is to break even this year. If we break even, we will be extremely happy. Okay, Elise, as always, thank you so much for presenting the financials and doing it in such a clear manner. I mean, you know, sometimes I pretend to know more about financials than I do, and even I could understand very clearly what you're presenting. So thanks, Elise.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, item 9 on the agenda, correspondence. Roberta, I don't know if we received any correspondence or not.
No.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. All right, item number 10, committee reports and updates, the Auxiliary Student Success Grant. So I am supposed to have a sample of this. So I'm going to do, hum you all a tune for a moment until I actually get that up. And thankfully, you won't have to hear me hum much. I have an example here to show you all. So this is something we haven't seen in a while. This is our student success grants, where we give these grants out to groups upon campus. So what we do is we work with student services, and once the clubs are all chartered, we provide them with these applications and they apply. we have a committee that meets to discuss this. And Shauna, just so you know that in the past, that committee involved Jerry Florence and myself. So I'm hopeful that you and I can do these reviews this year again, and we hope to give out these grants. We give out a maximum of $10,000 per grant, and we have some wonderful proposals that come through. We have funded science classes where they bought beakers, test tubes, and other materials. We bought some anatomy puzzles for another group. We funded the geology club trip, which I'm actually going to ask the board if they would consider carrying that over again. Just to give you all some history on that, the geology club, when I first started, the very first year I came in, they got their application in a day late. And the representative was in tears, but a wonderful person, and she carried it forward to the next year. They got their application in and were funded, and COVID hit. So they missed their trip. Then the board graciously voted to carry over their funding to the following year. And they still weren't able to get it done because of COVID travel restrictions. They've asked that we once again consider carrying over their award. And my apologies to the board. I will send it out to the board, but I would like to recommend that the board consider carrying over this group's funding. They have been the best with follow-up. It got very high rankings when Jerry Florence and I reviewed it, and I would like to humbly request that the board consider carrying forward that grant again. So this is supposed to be an informational item, but I'm going to turn it into an action item because I'm asking the board to please consider carrying that funding forward. If you feel like you don't have enough information, which I really don't have any here, I do apologize. The grant was for about $8,000 for the trip. And I'd be happy to share that proposal with the board. But if the board feels they have enough information to carry that forward, I would notify the geology club of their grant. Perhaps maybe we could wait a moment on this actually and see if we could go to a couple of other items here while I look through my laptop, which is what I lived on last year, to see if I can find that grant to share to the group. Would the board be amenable to that?
Bob, if I may, I see Dr. Corral has his hand up.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dr. Corral. I'm sorry, Dr. Corral, you're on mute.
So you missed all of my apologies, but thank you for that. I'm wondering, do we have any information as to when this trip is to take place? Is it something in the spring that's what the request would be to carry over for? Or is it something that would take place this semester, which would pose some additional kind of hurdles that we would need to address, and the amount of students?
Yes, Dr. Corral, thank you so much. In the meantime, I actually was able to find the application. It's on my laptop. However, I'm happy to transfer it via USB drive to show everyone, or if I can just summarize it, if that's okay. It's the Geology Club, and it would be a trip to Morro Bay, and it includes underrepresented students in the Learn one. Sorry, this is kind of cut off a little bit, but I believe it's the Learn 11 class. And they have STEM majors in here. They represent underrepresented populations, such as people of color, women, and members of the LGBTQIA community. And the trip normally takes place in spring. When they filled out their application, it was in March, possibly April. And they state in their application that it builds a bridge between clubs on campus and that becoming more involved by giving more access to students of diverse groups of students on campus. The justification is the opportunity to gain an admiration for nature, and students are given access to the national parks and state parks For many of them, it's the first time they have the opportunity to experience those type of things. And they also will provide a trip to Morro Bay State Park. Their total funding that they had requested in the past was $8,920, and that they had been approved for that full amount. It was signed off by the club advisor, the Office of Student Life, and even by Dean Kirkwood. So there was a lot of backing for this. And so I would humbly request that the board consider carrying this forward. Vice President Drinkwine.
Thank you. Do we know if that amount will still be sufficient? Since it was approved 2 years ago, I'm curious whether the cost of travel and the cost of this trip may have increased in cost in that 2 years. I'm supportive of approving it rolling forward. It seems very appropriate because it would have otherwise have made use of the grant if not for COVID. I just want to ensure that they will have sufficient funds. And so I would consider a potential augmentation of that grant amount, perhaps by a 5% amount, just to reflect potential increases in the cost of the trip. I think it's important that it is in spring. I know that as a district, I always look forward to spring. Spring is our reopening, and we anticipate that there will be lesser restrictions. I think it will also be important to specify that the approval of it rolling forward would require that all students and faculty are compliant with whatever existing COVID requirements the district has in place to participate in this travel. Would you like me to make that into a motion? All of that?
If you would, please.
My specific motion would then be to approve rolling forward this grant and allowing its use in spring with consideration of a potential 5% increase to reflect inflation, as well as specifying that all participants and faculty involved in this trip be compliant with all district COVID-19 requirements. I think I got it all.
Wonderful. So we have a motion on the floor. Does the board have any discussion?
I would second that motion, leading into discussion.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we have a motion and a second. Any further from the board? Okay, seeing none, I will take a roll call vote. And
sorry about that, Bob. The only other consideration is just to ensure that the club is actually active for this upcoming year, that it hasn't disbanded or anything like that. I don't think it has, but just to ensure it's still in place and we have student representatives and a functioning kind of organization.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to summarize the amended motion. To carry over the $8,920 for the Geology Club grant request, with rolling that forward with the potential of 5% increase, and the specification that all faculty and students comply with COVID-19 guidance, and with the specification that we verify, when we say we, I will verify that the club is still chartered and active this year. So that's the motion and second that we have on the floor. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will take a roll call vote, and I apologize, names change on the screen in order. Vice President Drinkwine.
Aye.
Thank you. Shauna Hagman.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Corral.
Aye.
Thank you. Alyssa Avila.
Aye.
Thank you. Luis Gonzalez.
Aye.
Thank you all very much. So this motion has passed. And I thank you all very much. And I'll notify the club and we'll ensure that those qualifications are all met. Okay, wonderful. Moving on to item number 11, old business. Never sure what this one is because I think we cover all our old business, but Vice President Drinkwine.
Before we leave the last item, I was just wondering, have we identified an amount for the future grants, or is that another item? Am I getting ahead of myself?
Oh, no. Thank you very much. We budgeted $60,000 total for this year.
And so we will still have that amount available despite our loss in the budget this year. So, okay,
correct.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I would just recommend that we double our efforts to communicate the availability of the grant, since it has been nearly 2 years since we've been on campus, and we've had a large turnover of students who were formerly aware of the grants as well as faculty. So I think we need to double our efforts to make sure people are widely aware that there are these opportunities.
Thank you. Absolutely, Vice President Drinkwine. I'll make sure that we do so.
Thank you.
Okay, so seeing no old business, new business, we actually passed the budget in the May meeting for the following year. This is my mistake. I go through this agenda and I should have caught this one. So we won't be presenting the budget this year. You've already seen the presentation by Elise, which showed the budget. So I'm happy to provide the budget to the board. As a matter of fact, I will email that out to everyone, if that's all right. Okay, meeting dates for 2021 and 2022. After today, we'll have meetings on November 23rd, February 22nd of 2022, and May 24th of 2022. So item number 13, student voice announcements. I'm going to turn this over to our students at large. Anything you'd like to discuss?
I just want to say it's pretty good information that I've learned today on my first meeting. I'm hoping to expand from here. I also got an email about some groups needing people. I'm hoping they get applicants so they can sign up and be part of the board or the council that's open currently right now. I've been getting a lot of emails for those specific programs, but I hope there's students out there that apply for them.
Thank you. And please, if you could help us get the word out, Luis and Alyssa, to the clubs, that would be wonderful as well. We would greatly appreciate any assistance you could provide.
No problem. Also, for scholarships, when are those open? I noticed that there's a scholarship fund for the board.
Yes, I know. I apologize. I'll have to get back to you about the scholarships.
Okay.
Thing we get rolling other grants, but yes, I will get back to you on that. Those I believe are, and again, my apologies. I did it 1 year and then we've been 2 years off. I believe those are scholarships for books, but I will confirm that and I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Of course. Okay, Alyssa, anything to add?
No, it's been really great following along and kind of getting a feel of how these meetings run and what's covered. So I look forward to helping reach out to the clubs and sharing with my classmates and kind of networking and putting the word out there however we can.
Great. Well, we so appreciate the two of you, and I hope this meeting lived up to your expectations from when we interviewed you last week. So you both play a critical role, as you see. Okay, great. Item 14 on the agenda, member comments. Okay, seeing none. It is 3:07 p.m. I thank you all for taking the time. And if I'm not mistaken, you might have a little free time on your calendar now. So we'll be sure to keep these booked at the length so that you can then get some work done afterwards. But we'll adjourn the meeting at 3:07 p.m. Thanks, everyone.
Recording stopped.